Hey guys, what's up? This is Shark talking. Welcome back to my channel. Today video will be doing a review of Noel, Rocbouquet and Wagnas banner. This is called 7 Heroes Day Saga Stage banner. From start we can already see that they changed the paid up step up banner. This has 6,000 gens cost. Yeah, it starts with 1.5 thousand and it goes to 1,000, but you don't have a guarantee here. You have to remind of that. Also, it may not be that bad since the last banners had only a 40% chance of getting one of the featured styles. Maybe summoning more will give you more chances than just, well, getting angry by getting a guarantee of an off banner. Yeah, I don't know, they are testing the waters and seeing what people prefer. Let's click here on Summon Details. We can start with the first one that appears here. That should be Rocbouquet. Rocbouquet is the best character of this banner in my opinion because of longevity and uniqueness. The first skill is called 100 Petals. This one here is a buff. It's a buff for Morale Up. Morale Up is a very interesting buff, but well, let me explain how it works. This one gives 15% increase to damage to your characters, but your characters already have damage up passives with them. So let's say some character like Termites, she has 50% increase in damage already. When you get this, it stacks, but it goes to 65. So going from 50 to 65 does not mean that she's getting exactly a 50% increase. The final output damage will not be so high, but it helps. Yes, it helps. 100 Petals is very nice because it only costs 1 BP when you awaken. It's almost a free skill to use. Well, very low cost. And you can use her with a skill inherited. If you're using her for boss fights and just as an attacker supporter, you can inherit from the Squid version an attack with 5 VP. That's pretty strong for 5 VP cost. And she can cycle between using one attack and 100 petals because this lasts for 2 turns. So she needs to do something else when she's not buffing. Or you can also inherit her heal spell and from her platinum style that's widely available. Heal, buff, that also works. The increasing damage may not be that high, but yeah. If we want to buff, we can use Matriarch, it's way better because she can buff other stuff. But that's how you play with this buff. Then we have the second skill called Tree Flower. This one is an AoE attack. That's pretty interesting because it buffs your will. Yeah, it's not a debuff. It does not debuff the enemy, it's buffing yourself. So the damage is C, so pretty good actually, because it's just like submachine gun. A blunt attack that we have with gunners that's pretty powerful. So we have a powerful attack with C power, 8 PP cost that also buffs your character. So if you are using her on boss fight, sometimes you may prefer to stick to this to try to increase your will to very high standards. Most bosses, they are also mages. They don't stick to just spells. Sometimes they will use some martial arts stuff, but increasing your will also help you negate status elements. Like the recent boss that we have, the Giant, and some of the others do try to inflict stun, paralyze, sleep, you know. This can be very worrying. And I may not see so much value right now, but we'll be getting more boss fights. We got like 1 month without boss fights. And when we receive a new content with more challenges, it will become more interesting. But it's a small effect, it should be around 25% buff, yes, with Tree Flower. But if you can stack this, and if you are using her together with Matriarch or Noel's Daughter, it's even better. Noel's Daughter also buffs will, so you can get more and more will. If the boss just uses spells, you are totally protected. And then we have the last skill called Umbra Levin. This Umbra Levin is, well, more for inheritance or for increasing her utility among all her versions, because this spell is not exactly that good for boss fights. I think that you will better be sticking to something cheaper than just using Umbra Levin, or you can use Umbra Levin when you want overdrive damage. Umbra Levin is both Shadow and Lightning. As you can see, the other ones were just Shadow. So Umbra Levin has double S power and only 8 BP cost when you fully awaken, meaning that you can use this twice in a 3-turn cycle. And say that you want to use her for farming and she will be dealing damage on turn 2 or turn 3 or turn 1 and turn 3. It's a nuke to kill large enemies. It's good, but she may not kill all of them. but she's way better than someone that we were using so far for this. Liz. She has a dragon attack and sometimes can kill many enemies. She will perform similar. And having 2 elements this time, Lightning and Shadow, will cover for way more than Liz. And she may be able to kill some large enemies. If she's not able to do it by herself, you can use some AoE alongside and finish the surviving enemy with Urban Leving. I think it's good, but it's also a conflict with her own design. Sometimes she's made for bosses, sometimes she's trying to be for farming. Tree Flower is also very good for farming, but you have to have her past style, the Squid Rocbouquet version, where you can inherit a 3 BP AoE attack. That 3 BP AoE attack is both Shadow and Lightning, so it's even better for coverage, but deals less damage than Tree Flower. Like I said, Tree Flower is very good, very strong when compared to other AoE attacks. It's the start of a new generation where we can have AoE with C power with only 6 PP. So if you have that other version of Rocbouquet, getting this one, it's just so good because you can keep changing between the two versions depending on the situations. This one is also pretty fast for farming if you want to use her for that. I will be, if I had her, using her for farming, and especially if you are using her in 2-turn cycles, you don't even need the other one. She can just use Tree Flower twice. There are conquests and some events that have only 2 waves, and she will be, well, good enough for that type of stuff. But I think she's screaming that she needs more inheritance to become better, either healing inheritance or AoE inheritance. Okay, so we also have some other inheritance with her, with Paralyze. Yeah, coming from an A style that's not available anymore, but will be again in the future. Now we have to check her passives to understand a little more about Rocbouquet. She has a Breath of Life 4, has medium chance. Medium chance is 25% chances, guys. Large effect is very high. She can heal for around 600 and something right now. That's pretty good for a character that is supportive in a fight against bosses. Or, well, if you want to use her for weekly or monthly content like Spiral or Zui Coliseum, she will also be performing pretty well. I think that Squid Rocbouquet is still better for that, because she can inherit Sheep heal and keep using her Sheep AoE, and it's better for that, but at least this one heal by herself. Then we have Vital Int, and this is unique to her, and one of the best passives for mage squads. Increases all surviving allies' intelligence. Medium effect, it's 10%, guys. 10% may not seem too much, but it's usually better to buff your status than just keep buffing things like even Morale Up with 100 petals. You will see sometimes better increase in damage when buffing status, but the good thing is that, well, Morale Up buffs damage for everyone, depending on the classes and the weapons that they use. But if you're using her for Vital Int, you have to bring mages to the squad to take more advantage of this. And not just that, but she can also help someone that's a very important character right now for farming, that is the newest version of Albert. Some call him Greek God Albert, some call him Heal Albert, and he needs all intelligence or will debuff that he can bring to have better chances to insta-kill. So she is, well, the same combination as using Volcano and Yunzin together. She has a similar result by using just her. Or you can even use Rocbouquet, stun Yunzin to debuff Will alongside Volcano and just have even higher chances to guarantee 100%, because it's very hard to get 100% chances. But he makes every farming faster. It will be hard to use Rocbouquet and stun Yunzin on the same setup because they have high agility, so yeah, I don't know how you will handle that. Okay, so that's her, and we also have Fired Up 5, so 20% increasing damage at all times. This is the only damage passive. One is healing, and the other one is a buff. Like I said, it's better having Vital Int than having something like, you know, even Weakness Concentration, because we are buffing the whole squad. 5 characters will do more damage when using Vital Int. That is if you're using that correctly. Now let's give a look on her status on Aroma Saga. Okay, so we are here and we can find many different SS styles of Rocbouquet. She's so popular, yeah, she has 4. This is the style that I said that can inherit good AoE Paralyze attack, that she gets very high chances to inflict because she buffs her intelligence even further. And this is the Rocbouquet that I was saying, that it is called the Squid version. This one is very important. You can kind of just stick to this one, and the Platinum one, because you get the heal from this one. And you have all the good things, and if you have the A1, it's even better when you need Paralyze. So let's click on this one and check the status of her. As you can see, she has the highest intelligence from all the different versions of Rocbouquet, and also the highest agility. That's pretty important when you are using her for farming. The other status don't really matter, but she even has higher endurance when compared to yeah, Squid Rocbouquet. All the other status are better, save for Charm and Love, but this doesn't change too much. She has 504% status for total. Yeah, that's pretty nice. So, I think that when compared to the other versions, she may bring more utility, but she does not totally replace this version of Rocbouquet because of that first skill. Yeah, Dark Pulse is so cheap and very strong. Also, the nuke attack, called it, here it's called Enchanted Squid Wrath. This one is very powerful against bosses. Even when you trigger this only 3 times, it's pretty high damage. And like I said, Black Thunder can be one attack that you use between your 100 petals for buffing morale and then just dealing damage. There are many different situations where you can use the two together, or just switching between the different inheritance. And if you have the past version of Rocbouquet, I strongly recommend having this one as well. But that is if you have the gens, of course. Maybe you don't have all the gens and that may just, you know, be hard for you. She is the best one of the banner in my opinion. She is a character that has a unique passive that will be interesting for those that have Albert as well and want to do instant kill strategies. But one thing for sure, if you have the past one, the Squid version of Rocbouquet, you really don't need this, to be honest. You can survive with just that one, but this one just increases the utilities of Rocbouquet for so much, for farming, for single target farming. I think the Umbra Levin will not replace the nuke from the other version, but it's still something interesting, and when she does not have anything to do, she can buff the squad damage. So, still, in my opinion, the best character from the banner, even more if you have the best Rocbouquet. So let's get to Wagnas. Wagnas is the second best character in my opinion here. Wagnas is beginner friendly, and I'll explain why. First one is Blue Fire Fang. This attack here is based on STR. He is a mixed character, he attacks both with physical and magical attacks, and Blue Fire Fang is a very cheap attack, low power of course, E power only, 3 BP when you awaken, and it's indirect even, will not be countered, it's both pierce and hit. Well, he's the best combo with Therese. Therese also has a similar attack that is both pierce and hit and cheap as well, and they can combo together. Therese is 4 BP, Wagnas is only 3, it's even cheaper than her. But Wagnas is designed for weekly and monthly content. While you can still use him for boss fights, he's more for those that are starting that need something that he provides, that I'll explain later. The Blue Fire Fang is very nice attack. The only bad part is that you have to increase both STR and intelligence, because Rising Flame is now a spell. Yeah, let's see the animation. Rising Flame is a nuke attack that is used for either farming or for boss fights. You can use him for farming because he can start with Rising Flame since it gets to 10 BP for start. So let's say that you have a stage where the first enemy is a huge enemy that has a lot of HP, you can use Rising Flame, and then he will just stick to use Blue Fire Fang all the time. Because it's cheap, he has it 3 BP all the time, everyone gets 3 BP. So a very good cycle with a character that can just change between the attacks that he wants to start and keep using. Rising Flame may not be that powerful as some other 3S nukes because it's actually 59 power. We have some 3S nukes that can reach like 70s, but it's powerful enough and it will defeat many enemies by itself. Like, you have an enemy that has like 40,000 HP, he will be able to kill that enemy, and that's what he needs to do. We don't have many fire nukes, but we do have Polka, and Polka will do more damage than him most of the time, especially because he can attack between 3 to 5 times. There's a new version of Bart that also received that same attack that Polka has, called Counter Explosion, and they are better as a nuke than Rising Flame. But they are using in different setups. Rising Flame needs intelligence as well, so you can use in enemy string alongside these 3 characters. Yeah, a lot of damage, but it will depend on how you compose your squad. If you want more support, 3 attackers is too much. But that is Rising Flame. Then we have Butterfly Blaze, and this attack here is both heat and shadow. Pretty nice. It's comparable to, well, our Luge, and I think that he is very similar to a Luge. Beginner friendly as well. Has a lot of utility coming from his attacks. Butterfly Blaze can give confusion with low chance, but he does have some high intelligence. It will land a lot unless the enemy has a little resistance. It's an interact spell with Heat and Shadow, B power, so B power is pretty good for an opener. We have the best 10 BP attacks with B. Sometimes we have 9 like Emilia, but usually it's very balanced for this type of stuff. Also, when we started a game, our 10 BP nukes were only C power, so he is very strong for current meta. So after he uses Butterfly Blaze, if you leave Rising Flame on 10 and Butterfly Blaze on 10, he will always start with Butterfly Blaze. That's an AoE attack, and then after that he just sticks to Blue Fire Fang. Remember that this one is based on SDR, and Butterfly Blaze is based on Intelligence. But this allows him to just become a full AoE attacker that never stops using spells. He's just good for cycling, especially like I said on weekly, monthly content. We have, Final Island. He may perform well in stages that you only need 2 AoE attackers. He's very good for Hidden Dojo because every time he's just attacking everyone. Zwig, I think that he is like one of the kings of Zwig Coliseum because after he kills enemies, he gets something from his passive and he can stick using AoE all the time. Not even some other cards that are used there have full AoE all the time, like I have Madeline, she cannot perform AoE all the time. And even Emilia that has an AoE attack that uses 4 BP, but he can do it, yes. But the question is, do you need help with Zwig? I don't, that's why I don't see much use for Wagnas in my setups. But let's explain his passives because they are pretty unique. The first one is Sense Absorption, and when he lands an attack that defeats a target, so only when he kills someone, he will recover HP. It should be around 500, and it doesn't matter how many enemies you kill, it will always be the same value. And he also recovers 3 BP every time he kills a target. So 3 BP and 500 heals every time he kills. That's pretty similar to Emilia, but the value here is way higher. 3 BP instead of 1, and 500 HP instead of just, well, 100 or something. Nah, she doesn't increase much HP. So Wagnas is better when we compare the passives, and for Zwig, every time he kills, he will be killing many enemies, or Spiral, he will be killing enemies as well. This passive will trigger, but in boss fights, yeah, you only kill the boss fight in the end, so it doesn't matter, it doesn't help anyway. That's why I say that Wagnas may not be the best one for boss fights. So the second one is Searing Gambit, and every time that he attacks with spells, he gets a chance to chase with Blue Fire Fang. Yeah, Blue Fire Fang, like I said, is good because it has 2 elements. So let's say that you start with Butterfly Blaze. Every time that you use this skill, you have a chance to follow up with Blue Fire Fang, or Rising Flame as well. That's interesting because depending, it may help you kill some enemies that resisted the damage, but it's not a 100% chance, it's only 50% chance. It's good because it's a free attack, but remember, it's only rank 1. Yeah, when it comes from passive, that's what happens. The bad thing is that it's not reliable. Sometimes if you are farming, you don't want this to happen because you want your characters to attack and you want reliable damage. You don't want to increase the farming time because Wagnas is attacking without need. But then if he kills a target, and he would not chase this attack if the enemy is dead, and that's good enough. Also, there are some inheritance things that you can do with Wagnas in the future that I will explain a little better. Blue Fire Fang cannot follow itself because it's a physical attack, so Rising Flame and Butterfly Blaze can follow up, but the first one cannot, okay? And the last one is Fired Up 5, so 20% increase in damage at all times. This is the only damage passive. Again, Wagnas doesn't have the best nuke for hit. He does have only 1 passive for damage, so even though he is capable to kill large enemies, he's not the best nuker and he will not be the best nuker for too much time. I must say that after some time, I see that he gets a decrease in usage, but for bosses, like I said, but he's still reliable for Zwig in now weekly content. Okay, now let's get a look in his status here. So, one interesting thing is that we don't have many versions of Wagnas, only the Platinum one, the NAS one that we get by defeating him, and this one here that we just received, and this one is good enough because it gets very high intelligence in STR, but crazy enough, I don't know of any other character that has 10 points increase by 1 style. Yeah, if you farm with his S style, you get 10 more points, and it's pretty impressive and needed to be a good AoE attacker. AoE attackers need a lot of agility. That's interesting enough. And then let's give a look on the status multipliers, you cannot even compare to this version of him because it was low and so bad. You can see only 20% agility. It's the only character in the game that's just have 20. Yeah, and it doesn't get more by leveling up. So 92 STR, that's pretty high, and 94 intelligence, and even more with bonus. So the stats are pretty on standards for current game. He does have low endurance and average will. Very bad love and charm, but charm is okay because he needs to heal himself. Love, it's not high and he does not need that. The dexterity is needed because of physical attacks, but his spells do not need that. He needs agility. So getting more agility from his S style is needed, so it also increases the accuracy. But it's good enough, I don't think he will be missing. So let's talk about his inheritance options. Let me just decrease the zoom here because it's interesting that in the future we will be able to upgrade the Fireball spell, and it's a 3 BP attack and it becomes AoE. Yeah, it's pretty nice. So if you inherit Fireball and you use Fireball as an AoE attack, you will have a high chance, 50%, to chase with Blue Fire Fang. Let's return here. Yeah, so Blue Fire Fang will be follow-up after Fireball Plus. Fireball Plus is still far from release, but it's just something that you can do. I'm explaining. Yeah, Wagnas is good. I think he's the second best from the banner, because he's beginner friendly. He will help many people with many different setups. But yeah, some people will not need him because they can already do what he does with different styles. So the next one should be Noel. And this Noel here is a problem, but also good enough. Yeah, this Noel is not bad. I cannot say that he's bad. There's not many bad styles anymore. It's hard to find a character that's bad that you cannot find a way to use. I'll explain how you can use this guy. There is Shadow Blade, the first skill called... Yeah, it is an 8 power, very powerful for a 5 VP coast skill, and it has delay. Well, delay is bad, but good on the same time. The bad part about delay is that you will hardly make any combos, only if you attack after the enemy, because it will always attack after the enemy, unless it's paralyzed or something. So the damage is good, Slash and Shadow, even better, but it exactly use it for another thing. That is to not use Lunar Blade when you don't want it to be used. Lunar Blade has received an update where it becomes fast, and it doesn't increase the power. Some of the skills, they are amplified, will increase the damage, but this one no, just get the fast property. Lunar Blade is also available in his very first Platinum style. So Lunar Blade is not so strong by itself because it's B, with very high cost. We were discussing a B attack with only 10, this one is 12. But it has Fast. Fast is good for Final Island, for some farming where you can control your attacks without the enemy attacking you. And although the damage is not so high as some other characters, it is good enough that you can program your attacks without being attacked. So this is also the version of Noel that will do the highest damage with Lunar Blade. We will receive a freestyle that we'll be discussing shortly that can also use Lunar Blade by inheritance, and you can use it on turn 1. This Noel can only use this on turn 2, so you have to use him with some other characters that will finish the first wave by themselves, and then he will just use Lunar Blade on second wave. That is good enough if you can kill the enemies. So, Lunar Blade is good because it's fast, not so high power. But there's a second skill here that's, well, very niche. Zanshin is a counter stance attack. He deals damage first, at least, that's good enough. And he enters a counter stance. When someone attacks him, he counters with a blunt damage. Why blunt damage? I don't know, because he likes to kick. Yeah, you see, he just gave a kick. And this one, you see, it's only for one turn, 6 BP cost. Many of the characters that use these similar setups have this. But there are many better counter stance attackers in this game. And the counter is C power, single full, and blunt, but at least it uses the rank that we have with Zanshin. It's so bad to increase the rank of this, but at least it attacks, it's not a waste. You can use this on auto. Okay, so Zanshin is not that good, I think. And Shadow Blade is strong but has delay, so this guy is made for Lunar Blade. Yeah, that's the problem. He uses Lunar Blade, and yeah, he's done with that. His inheritance options right now are not that good, but he gets a better option in the future with his future style. So let's give a look on his passives. He has a lot of damage passives and even a buff to the squad. First one, War Cry, increases both slash and blunt attacks for the squad. It's 5% for each. If your character has both elements in the same attack, it will get 10% increase. That's very hard to happen. So Weak Point Focus 4 increases his damage by 20% when attacking weak targets. That's where you are using him, so most of the time you'll be hitting for 20% more damage. In Overtension is 15 at all times, then 15 more on combo, and then 15 more on overdrive. So total of 45 when you are using him on overdrive. That's pretty nice. But how many times you'll be using him, because he doesn't have any single target nuke. In boss fights we usually use a single target nuke. But at least he can help when we are facing many bosses, but that's not exactly something that we see all the time. But still, Overtension at least increases 15 all the time, and we also will be getting this slash increase by Warcry, so he gets 40% increase when dealing damage to weak targets. That's good enough, and most characters that stop there then don't get more than 40 or something. So let's give a look at his status in now Roma Saga. Okay, so we have the 3 versions of him. This one is a platinum that most people will have. This one is the one that you can get by defeating him on Noel attacks, and this is the one that we can summon. As you can see, it has more agility when farming, while this one is the free one, you have more STR, although the damage is better on this one. So giving a look on his multipliers, 97, very close to the other one, but the other one will get a little more because of the flat bonus. He has higher endurance, he has similar dexterity, won't make any difference. He does have a higher agility, so it's good when you have high agility with delay, because that means that if you want him to go first, if you have 2 fast attackers on turn 2, the one with the highest agility will attack before, so it's pretty good. Also, because we have match right now, buffing agility, it's even better to evade. Very bad intelligence, but he does not need. Then he has an okay will. Love, it's pretty bad, he does not need, and Sharp, he does not need. When you compare this other one here, they have very similar status. Well, I do think that the agility is the one that makes him better. STR is pretty close. And the good thing about inheritance, now let's just decrease the size here. We will discuss a little of the free one. The free one has 3 different attacks. The first one and the third one are AoEs. Yeah, New Moon Slash is a very cheap attack, but it's only slash. It's very strong because, well, he's made for farming. Steel Wave is pretty powerful. This attack here comes from UDX Gustav, yeah, 8 power, and you can use this on turn 1. Bull Crush is a single target attack that is cheap and strong, but nothing special. Let's give a look on himself just so we can understand his passives. Power Charge 2, that is what allows this version to use Lunar Blade on turn 1. So sometimes you may want to use on turn 1, you'll be using this one. If you want to use Lunar Blade on turn 2, you'll be using the current one that we can summon. In Advanced Spirit, it's something that is, well, not useful all the time, since it gets BP and HP when he kills a target. Remember Wagnas? Yes, this is the same, but it's not as strong as the Wagnas version, it's just similar. Or I think it's the same as the Commando Emilia version. You get 1 BP when you kill and you get some healings. And then we have Fired Up 5, 20% increase in damage only. That's where this Noel gets the upper hand. This one has 40%, while the free one has only 20, because he lost some passives here with this Advanced Spirit and Power Charge. Well, it's something that you have to pay. But then Steel Wave will be very strong on turn 1, or you can just use Lunar Blade. If Steel Wave is stronger, it's 8 power, 28 multiplier. But it's not fast, so it will not guarantee to go first. It would depend on the formation that you are using. Maybe if you are using Sigmoid, it will go first. So this guy here, when he releases, he will be free. He will be just like what we can get with Sophia. He will just be some missions, and when you clear those missions, Noel is yours. That's pretty good because everyone will have access to this very strong character. But if you want to make him so good for AoE, you have to kill targets. He can start with Steel Wave, yeah, and then he will just need to kill someone with Steel Wave. He will get 1 BP, and then he can use New Moon Slash again, and if he kills again, he can use again. Or else you can just use him for 2 waves and use someone else to kill at least 1 wave so that he uses, yeah, skill 3 and skill 1. But this one can also use Lunar Blade without depending on the current one that we can summon. Why? Because you can inherit that from Platinum one. So those that already summoned for Wagnas and Rocbouquet, and they don't think they will need this version of Noel, they can just wait for the free one and get the Lunar Blade from the Platinum. Yeah, you will already have a lot of usages. And this one is better because after he uses Lunar Blade, he still has an AoE to follow up. While the other one, no, the other one doesn't have. He will have to inherit from the free. Yeah. But yeah, it still works, but only for 2 attacks between a 3-turn cycle. Well, let's return to the game. Noel is good. I cannot say that he is bad. He has competition because he has a freestyle that's pretty good. If without that one, he will be a little better. Lunar Blade is not that strong by itself, and that's why I think that he has a lower value in the other characters. Yes, the other characters will keep attacking or keep using stuff, while he sometimes will hit the wall because he doesn't have enough PP to do what you wanted him to do. Is he bad? No, he's not, but if you get the other 2 characters in pretty soon your summon, I think you should stop and maybe ignore this Noel. Although we don't have many fast attackers for Slash, and this Lunar Blade can help. So returning to the banner image, is this banner worth summoning for? Well, it's a good banner. I must say, it's a good banner. It's not one of the best ones. When it's one of the best ones, I say on the start. The Rocbouquet is unique enough that you may want to have her. The Wagnas is good for those that are starting because he just increases your farming capabilities and your chances to clear weekly, daily, and monthly content. Noel is good enough, but he doesn't have that much reason to summon for just him. He's more of a bonus if you get him along the way. Although, not bad, like I say. But that's my opinion. What's yours? Please stay here in the comments if you already summoned it. Sorry, it took me some time to make this. But thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe if you still haven't. If you want to support the channel, you have the links on the description of the video. We see each other on the next one. Bye.